What's going on, you guys? Jay here, and welcome back to the channel. So you've probably been a little bit absorbed in the same way that I have with the Mantra crash. It does have a slight similarity to the situation that we went through, but I really do think that there's a slight possible chance that the development team, the founder, the co-founder, and everybody who's really responsible for getting this thing back on track might actually pull it off. And if that is the case, if they're able to restore order, they're able to get back up to that near $7 range, well, then we possibly could see a situation play out that could bring a lot of gains. If you bought a small bag, that small bag could lead you to a massive return in the future. And this really does, like I said, have similarities to the lunar crash itself, but there are some discrepancies, there's some differences, and I think the way that they're handling this is far more appropriate, and it's feasible. They're not in this realm of trillions upon trillions of coins being printed, this massive increase in the overall supply, which absolutely killed the idea of even trying to restore the coin back to the price that it originally was, which is what everybody really barks on about, is getting above that $1 level and back up to $116 a coin. That's really not something that's a reality for us unless we're able to burn through trillions of coins. So like I said, we could see a situation where it does fight its way back up to that $7 range. And if you're able to wipe out the emotion, if you're able to really set your rifle sights on this price action and look at the available information, well, this could play off big time for you. But again, anything like this is going to come with a substantial amount of risk. We could see a situation where they simply don't pull this thing off. But from my perspective right now, it's looking good, it's looking positives. But there are these, like I said, discrepancies out there because there's a lot of these allegations around the manipulation of the coins, who holds most of the supply, and blame being put on the co-founder and then the founder. So there's a lot of back and forthing. There's a lot of these discrepancies, as I've said, that you've really got to push out of the way. You've got to really erase the motion and just look at the information that's available. And what they're stating here is a burning and buyback is going to be initiated, it's going to be planned, and that is eventually going to be rolled out. But there is more information out there. But before we do go any further, let's just take a quick look at the stats, if you will. And what I'm going to do for anybody that is involved in the crash, maybe listening to this video, maybe never even been to this channel before, I'm going to leave a link in the comment section, and I'll also leave it in the description, and that will give you the ability to gauge the direct stats from the blockchain. It seems the Mantra team made a dashboard, and that's going to be really useful for anyone who's even planning to trade on this in the future. So we can see we've got a total supply of around 1.81 billion OM coins, and this is going to, like I said, put them in the realms of reality. A token buyback is 100% possible, because seeing just below it at that circulating supply, 949 million OM coins. So we've seen some base stats there, what we need to know to really push forward. And for anyone who's wondering, there's no post-mortem at the moment. There's no real information to guide us to a final statement or a final judgment of you, if you will, as to what went wrong, how this happened, and how it can be prevented in the future. And the team's just simply waiting, and they're working with the wider industry. So when more information does become available, because I've done this one video, I guess I'll do another video in the future as they roll out information. And as any more information really becomes readily available on these possible burn programs that are coming forward. So this is JP Mullen, and I think he is the co-founder from what I understand. I might be wrong there. People could correct me in the comment section. The burn program details are in the final stages and will be shared in the near future. Buyback program also well underway, and we are working around the clock. Now, this is very positive for face value. This does tell you that something's underway. Does this mean that they've begun burning, buying back, and doing all of the ins and outs that are required? No, this is simply saying that they are preparing, they're getting ready. But again, there's more positive information out there, because when we dive further into this, we can see that the co-founder is supposedly going to be burning 300 million of his own allocation. This is pretty significant because, as you just saw, the circulating supply is around 946 million. So, this is a significant portion of what is currently circulating. And if he does go ahead with this, well, it could possibly have a very strong impact on the price moving upwards. And from my perspective, from what I understand around burning, you're not going to want to do this in drips and drabs. If you've got bulk amounts that are readily available that could be burnt, allocations, so on and so forth, you're really going to want to group all of that together and hit it as hard as you can, and then get all of those buybacks coming in, because the discrepancies that I've spoken about do run quite deep. And according to JP Mullen, 90% of the circulating supply was never in the team's control, as more than 91% of the circulating supply has been issued on Ethereum and has been in circulation for nearly 5 years. So there's these drips and drabs, as I've been saying, this information that's readily available, and it's telling us that they're handling this correctly. They're explaining to people the ins and outs, and more importantly, they're being transparent about their plans. With that transparency comes the ability for traders, whales, and anyone that is alike to really come in and, like I said, erase the emotion and say to themselves, there's an opportunity here. There is a very strong positive that we could see in this very negative environment. Now, like I was saying, there is a information page, if you will, a dashboard, although it's in its V1 stage. The likelihood is they'll roll this out probably with a more intricate design, something a bit smoother, better UI UX, if you will. But this has got absolutely everything from the tokenomics allocation, the airdrops, the chain bridge information. You can see absolutely everything in regards to token supply, ensuring that things are as they should be during times like this. Links to that in the description of this video, you guys. Try to keep yourself as updated as possible. Now, speaking of updates, going in and actually looking to see if there's a timeline, if there's a burn address, there is, and I'll leave links to this in the description as well. And the process of unstaking 150 million tokens from the team and core contributor bucket has now begun, and it can be verified through the following transaction hashes. So if you feel the need to go in and do your own research, definitely do it. That's a vital part of being invested in crypto. They're stating the unstaking period will be completed on the 29th of April 2025. And once this process is finalized, all tokens will be sent directly to the burn address listed below. These tokens will be permanently removed, reducing the total supply by the same amount, being 150 million OM. And then additionally, they're stating that Mantra is in ongoing conversations with key ecosystem partners to implement an additional 150 million OM token burn, which will bring the total burn amount to 300 million OM. They give you a lot of information inside this little article. They're talking about the possible burn impact to the on-chain staking APR. I'm not going to bore you with all of that here. You should definitely go and, like I said, do your own research and better understand this evolving situation. Now, this is a very interesting situation from my perspective, because not only are you going to see this possible clawback where you could really make a lot of gains by grabbing a smaller bag, we're also going to get burn data. Burn data is very important. The majority of data that people rely on is really the SHIB burn. It's really what Vitalik did by burning around 46% of the overall Shiba Inu supply, seeing that run by thousands of percent around 12 months later. So we just don't know what's going to happen under these circumstances. But again, erasing the emotion, looking at this possible opportunity in this chaotic situation. And yeah, it's there, it's available, but it's a risky play. You should be very cautious around anything like this. But look, none of this is financial advice. It's all for educational purposes only. And just stay safe, you guys. If you're new here, subscribe, like, drop a comment on the way out. It's really going to help us out. And we'll catch you in the next one.